Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Sarah with Blessed Hotness. I know I'm a little late to the game, but I wanted to just show you guys how I created my Christmas set of nails. I had a bunch of fun creating these nails, but when it just came to the editing part, time just slipped away from me. So let's go ahead and get into it now. Alright, so here is what we are starting with. So I'm going to start by getting that gel off and that top coat off with my medium coarse sanding band and my nail drill. And I'm also using my Young Nails dust collector. So I'm going to just start by getting those hard to reach cuticle areas, just lightly going back and forth, brushing over the gel, just trying to get all of that gel off. I'm not working on removing the bulk because this is just a sanding band right now. I'm just trying to get the top off. So I go ahead and do that to all of my nails. When you're doing this, you want this kind of at a lower speed since you're just working on the top. Mine doesn't have like speed settings. It's just kind of a thing that I roll back and forth. You also don't want to be adding a lot of pressure. When all the gel is finally off, I go ahead and I switch my mandrel bit over to my coarse safety bit from Young Nails, and then I start working on thinning out that acrylic. I want to get these super thin because I'm going to be doing an acrylic nail design on top. I made one of my thumbs a little bit too thin and I bumped it and it accidentally broke. So I will have to sculpt this one out, but other than that, I got them all pretty thin, which I'm pretty happy about. You basically just want to leave a protective layer on your nail plate and just enough that it's basically almost just like having a tip already. So when I am done making them pretty thin, I go ahead and start with my Cuticle Prep and I change out my nail drill tip bit to this cuticle one. This is kind of like I don't know what it's called actually, but it's just flat and it really helps me get all that protein growth off of my nail plate. I actually get a lot of growth, so I do end up having to do a lot of prep when I do my nails. I also had a tiny bit of lifting or just like not flat areas in the back, and I kind of just flatten those out too. When I'm done with that, I go ahead and I use my little cuticle nipper cutter to just get all that excess cuticle off. Then after I'm done with that, I switch to my other cuticle bit. That's this little round ball thing, and this one's meant for the skin and not the nail. So then I just go ahead and I smooth out that cuticle skin right around my nail bed. Okay, so here is how my nails look after doing all of my cuticle prep. When I'm done with cuticle prep, I go in with Young Nails swipes and a little brush and just brush off all of the nail dust. This also works as a dehydrator. And then I go ahead and grab my Young Nails protein bond. And this protein bond works great. I have not had problems with lifting. You just want to do your actual nail plate. You don't want to waste this. And you want to do 2 coats. So I go ahead and start with my left hand, and then I go around and do my right hand. And then when I'm done with that, I go ahead and do one more coat on my left hand because I'm going to start doing my nails on my left hand first. And then I wait until I'm ready to do my second hand to do my second coat of protein bond on that hand. Okay, so this is going to be my very first attempt at trying to do a smile line. I've seen a couple of YouTube videos about it, so I just decided, hey, why not try it? So I go ahead and grab my first bead there of the Young Nails new acrylic. I believe this is in Cover Cherry Blossom. And I go ahead and set it down kind of next to my cuticle. And sorry, I'm out of frame here a little bit, but I'm just going ahead and touching it at the back, trying to get it as close to the cuticle as I can without touching it. And then I kind of feather it down a little bit. I don't want it to go all the way down. If I need to clean up the sides, I clean up the sides. And yeah, so this was my first bead. I go ahead and try to push it down a little bit more with the body of my brush. I don't want to drag it super far down, but I do want to get it just that general back end shape there. The goal with this bead is to get that cuticle area nice and flush so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, then I go ahead and I pick up my second bead, and then I'm going to use this to actually extend that that nail bed area that I'm creating. And I want to place it about where I want it to, the length that I want it to be, and I want it to be long enough to where it's like almost as long as what my natural nail is underneath there. And I'm just going to go in and kind of shape it up into the shape I want it. I kind of wanted these like a little bit between round and almond, and so I'm just trying to keep those like edges like super clean as I can. You don't want this to be like super wet, but you also do want it to be malleable. And then I go in and I try to blend it back to that back bead. I tried to work pretty hard on these edges right here because I do want my smile, I don't want it to be like ridiculously deep, but I want it to be like, you know, like a smile line. Like you could tell that put effort into it. So I do want those to be really nice and as crisp and clean as I can make it. And there it is. You know, I was pretty happy with my first attempt at this. I thought I did pretty well. It's not everywhere. I kept it where I wanted to keep it, and I was pretty happy. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that to all my nails. Oh, for your nails, when you do pick up acrylic, sometimes you just need to let it do its thing while it's on the brush for a second. Just wait like 3-4 seconds before you set it down. It'll be much easier to set down and to work with at that point. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of do that 2 bead method for the rest of my nails. If I need a 3rd bead for blending, then I do that. But just let the first one kind of run down as best as you can. Then place that second one just to get that shape you need there. And yeah, I think this turned out pretty well. So this is how all of the nail beds turned out, and I am pretty happy with them. At this point though, I didn't know what I wanted to do with that accent nail. I know I wanted to add like more glitter on that than the other nails. So I took a second to think about what I wanted to do. Then I decided I wanted to do that one kind of half green, half white glitter. But before I do that, I'm going to just go ahead and do the nail beds of my other hand. I'm going to do that second coat of protein bond, and then I'm just going to get into it. Once I finished my right hand, I went and just double checked that my left hand was all dry, and then I come in to clean up those edges with a new hand file. I think this is a 100-180 file that I got as a free gift from Model Loans when I got some of their gel polishes. Once I have those nail bed edges crisp, I take out my Young Nail Slick Pour in the color Hope Drunk, and I absolutely love this. I haven't tried using their slick pours before, so I was just super excited because they're so versatile. So I just go ahead and I use it as an acrylic. I dip my brush in the monomer, pick up a small bead. It was kind of hard to like get any beads bigger than that, just because I feel like it was so glitter dense. But for the look, I want it to be glitter dense, so I was pretty happy. So I just go ahead and try to fill in that negative space on the free edge with this glitter. I feel like next time I use a slick pour, I'm going to shake it up a little bit while it's in the container, because I think maybe just the glitter and acrylic were a little separated, and that might be why it was harder to pick up decent sized beads, but it ended up working fine. I just tried to get as close, like right up next to that nail plate as I can without getting on top of the nail plate, and then I try to walk it back also to the sides to really get that nice defined smile line. So I end up using that same technique to add that slick pour glitter to the tips of the rest of the nails, excluding the accent nail. At any point, if I end up getting like a fair amount of glitter on top of the nail plate, I just wet my brush with a monomer and just use the body of my brush along with the monitor to just kind of like clean and swipe that glitter off the nail plate. Once all my tips are glittered, I go ahead and I go in with that same Model 1's hand file And I just go ahead and try to flatten that nail bed part out a bit, so I'm not filing the glitter at all. Just this was my first time doing this, so I made my nail beds a little higher so I'd have space for that glitter to get up to. So I'm just trying to flatten it out a little tiny bit and get all of any bumps and grooves just mostly flattened, because we're going to clear cap this here in a minute and I don't want any bumps or lumps to show. Once I'm satisfied with the filing of the nail plates down a little bit, I go ahead and grab my Swipe from Young Nails and my brush again, and I just go ahead and clean off any nail dust that is there, just because you don't want to encapsulate nail dust. Next, we're going to clear cap all of these nails. When you're using a clear acrylic to cap and you just used glitter, I would suggest like really cleaning out your brush or getting a new brush. So I'm using a different brush here. I also changed out my dappen dish because I wanted fresh monomer. I didn't want monomer with a bunch of acrylic or any color or any glitter in it. So yeah, I just go in with my bead, and it was pretty wet here. Yeah, that was a terrible bead, but it still worked. You know, you don't want to move clear so much because you don't want to get air bubbles, but you do want your acrylic to flow a little bit. Not this much, but just a little bit. But it still worked. It worked out fine. It ends up doing the same thing, and I didn't really get air bubbles, so I was pretty lucky. If you've watched my other video about my acrylic nail swatching, you'll know that I got this brush, this Young Nails brush that I'm using right now, stuck to the bottom of a dappen dish that I hadn't fully cleaned, and I had to rip it out with my cuticle pusher. So I don't know if you can tell when you see a close-up of this brush that there are some little flyaway strands on it. Yeah, that's because I had to rip it out, but you know, it still works the same pretty much. I just tried to not use that side as much. Okay, so all of the nails are now clear capped, and they look pretty good. They're still a little chunky, they're a little thick, but now we're gonna focus on the accent nail. So I'm gonna start with adding some of that green glitter acrylic again, and I'm focusing on the cuticle area here. I want it to be pretty dense down here, and my idea is to kind of have it dense at the bottom and kind of like fade towards the tip, but only as a diagonal going up one side. So I'm trying to get it pretty packed here at the bottom of the nail, and then slowly bring it up a little along one of the sides. Once I am happy with the green glitter placement, I go ahead and grab a bead of that
Modelones number 23 or 24, that white glitter, and I add that to the other side of the nail that doesn't have glitter acrylic yet. You can't really see the glitter from this far away, but it is super pretty. It reflects blues and greens and a little bit of pinks, and when it overlaps a little bit with the green, it just is super, super pretty. Then I go ahead up and clean up the sides and just make sure I don't have glitter on my nails, and then I do the other hand. And when I'm done with both of those accent nails, I go ahead and I replace my monitor in my small dappen dish, the one I used for clear capping. I don't fill it up because I only need to clear cap these two nails, and I just go ahead and I clear cap them. Once those two nails are clear capped and fully cured, I go in with my Modelones hand file and I go ahead and I start cleaning up the sides that I need to clean up. I'm starting with my right thumb, because if you remember earlier, that's the one that I filed too thin and broke, and I had to totally sculpt it completely. I'm not very good at just like freehand sculpting yet. That is how I prefer to do it, just so I feel like I'm learning and doing a skill, but I usually end up putting too much on the sides and needing to spend forever filing. So this thumb took the longest. The other nails kept most of their shape intact. They just needed to be tightened up a little bit and made skinny. They need to go on a diet. It was a little thick. When I'm pretty happy with the general shape of my nails after using the hand file, I go ahead and I bring back out my e-file and my medium coarse safety bit from Young Nails, and I go ahead and I start using it to remove the excess product from the nails. So this is going to be used to get any of that extra bulk off. And I always start kind of by the sidewalls and the cuticle area to get that flush, because that's the part you want to be kind of not like thin, but like the thinnest. After doing the sidewalls and the cuticles, I just go ahead and take off the excess bulk on the rest of the nail, and really make sure to get that apex shape correct, and to trim any excess product off the sides, trim any that might be underneath the nail. And you also want to make sure that your nail is getting gradually thinner as you get closer to the tip. Once I am happy with the overall shape of the nail, I just go ahead and I come back in with my hand file and I just clean it up even further. I'm not too skilled with the e-file just yet, and sometimes I get a little bit afraid of making divots or taking too much off with the e-file. So I usually just take most of it off with the e-file and then leave the last bit for the hand file. So I go in and I just make sure that I didn't leave any divots from the e-file, and I just, make it a little thinner. I always like file it also like towards the tip just to make that part like a little thinner and even. And I clean up the sides a little bit also, because when I use the e-file, it's also hard to kind of tell what I'm doing. I feel like it's much easier to tell what I'm doing with the hand file. So here are the nails all shaped and filed. From here, I'm going to go ahead and grab my swipe from Young Nails and my little brush. I'm going to get some swipe on it, and I'm just going to clean off my nails. I'm going to just clean it from any of the nail dust that's on there and just get them all ready to decorate. Once my nails are all cleared of nail dust, I go ahead and I grab my Poochie's Nail Bling Gel. I absolutely love this gel. I've tried using just top coat, I've tried using poly gel, and nothing holds rhinestones better than this gel. So I go ahead and grab my gel brush, I scoop some out on the cap because we don't want to waste none, and I go ahead and put this at kind of the base of my accent nail. Please excuse my head that's in the way here. But I'm just applying it to the bottom of my nail where that cuticle is almost, and then I'm bringing it up just a tad bit to blend it, and then I'm going to put it in a couple spots that I'm going to put some snowflakes on. So without curing, I'm going to use my gel brush to pick up a snowflake and place it on my nail where I want it, kind of where that green and white glitter meet. And I'm only going to put 2 snowflakes on each nail. I should have encapsulated these snowflakes because they're a little bit bigger, but I totally forgot about it. So I'm kind of going to encapsulate it in this Bling Gel underneath the top coat. Once I am happy with my snowflake placement and my gel is all smoothed out over, I'm going to go ahead and go over this with the Poochie's Nails Super Shine Top Coat. And remember, the gel is not cured yet, so I'm just going to go over it with a nice generous layer. Sorry, I'm out of frame here. Still not used to working with the camera. But once I have a generous amount of the top coat on there, I go ahead and I get my crystal picker ready to pick up these rhinestones. So I go ahead and I put 5 rhinestones down by the cuticle area. I have one that's slightly larger than the other ones as the center rhinestone, and then the other 2 right alongside it, just kind of like defining that cuticle area. Once I'm happy with the rhinestone placement, I go ahead and pick back up that Super Shine top coat, and this time I'm not putting as much, but I do want to get some of that top coat right up next to the rhinestones without going over them. And then I cure it for 60 seconds. The top coat next to the rhinestones is to help just kind of hold it in place so that there's something on the side of it holding it, as well as the gel and the top coat under it. I was super happy with how this nail ended up turning out. Once that gel and top coat was fully cured, then I go back in with my Poochie's Nail Super Shine top coat again, and I just go ahead and top coat the rest of my nails. So after top coating those 3 nails, I'm going to go ahead and cure those for 60 seconds before going back in and top coating that thumbnail. I do this just to ensure that the top coat doesn't move anywhere that I don't want it to. So after taking them out of the lamp, I really loved them. I felt like this was a great first try of doing a smile line. I was super happy. Anyways, here is the final look of both of the nails. They worked great for Christmas, and I feel like they'd be just great anytime. Alright guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe if you want. If you don't, no worries, that's chill. I put out new videos whenever I feel like it. Okay, bye!